Only 8 people in that auditorium knew who Bruce Lee was. The Marine Corps combat instructor on the mat didn't. The base commander observing from the balcony didn't. The 300 Marines packed into the Camp Pendleton gymnasium that Tuesday afternoon didn't recognize the slender Chinese man in the civilian workout clothes standing near the water fountain. That was about to change. In the next 12 minutes, the arrogant hand-to-hand combat instructor would receive the most humbling education of his military career. And every Marine in that gymnasium would witness something that contradicted everything they'd been taught about fighting. This is what really happened on November 17, 1967. This is the story they never allowed to leave the base. Camp Pendleton Marine Corps Base, Oceanside, California, November 17, 1967. Tuesday afternoon, 2:30 p.m. The main combat training gymnasium is filled with Marines. This isn't a public demonstration. This is internal military training. Advanced hand-to-hand combat certification. Instructors from across the Western bases have gathered. They're here to observe, to learn, to evaluate new fighting techniques for Marine Corps combat doctrine. The atmosphere is serious, professional, military. These are men trained to kill, men who've served in Vietnam, men who know what real combat looks like. The smell of sweat, canvas mats, and Marine Corps discipline fills the air. On the mat, leading the demonstration, is the man everyone came to see. Staff Sergeant James the Hammer Mitchell. Not a nickname he gave himself. A name earned through 14 years of breaking opponents. James is 32 years old, 6 foot 3 inches, 235 pounds of pure combat-hardened muscle. He's been training since enlisting at age 18. 14 years of dedicated, brutal, unforgiving practice, expert rating in Marine Corps martial arts, multiple tours in Vietnam, 3 confirmed kills using only hand-to-hand combat. He's undefeated in every military combat competition he's entered for 7 years. 43 consecutive victories against trained military opponents. He's the Marine Corps' premier hand-to-hand combat instructor, and everyone in this room knows his reputation. His presence is overwhelming, intimidating, absolute. James stands center mat in his combat fatigues, sleeves rolled tight around massive forearms. His dog tags glint under the gymnasium lights. His face shows the marks of real combat. Scar above his left eye, broken nose, never properly set, jaw that's been fractured and healed harder. He looks like violence incarnate, like war given human form. His technique is brutal, direct, efficient. Military combatives, no sport, no points, no rules. Techniques designed to disable, to injure, to kill. Eye strikes, throat strikes, joint destructions, ground positions that end with the enemy unconscious or dead. Everything practical, everything proven in real combat situations. The Marines watching are impressed, respectful, silent. This is their world. This is what they train for. This is the difference between going home and being shipped home. James doesn't just teach fighting, he teaches survival. But James has a flaw, a significant, dangerous flaw. He's developed an ego that matches his skill. Actually, an ego that surpasses his skill. He's won so many times, dominated so many opponents, that he's begun to believe his own legend. His confidence has crossed into arrogance. His pride has become contempt. Contempt for other fighting systems, contempt for martial arts that aren't military, contempt for anything that looks soft, traditional, or foreign. The base commander hands him the microphone, a standard procedure. The senior instructor addresses the group, sets expectations, explains methodology. James takes the microphone. His voice is rough, commanding, carrying decades of ordering men into danger. Gentlemen, Marines, fellow warriors. His tone is absolute, certain, unquestionable. You're here today to learn what works, not what looks good, not what wins trophies, What works when someone is trying to kill you? The Marines nod. This is truth they understand. I've been in real combat, hand to hand, life or death. Vietnam, 64, 66, 68. I've used these techniques when it mattered, when failure meant death. The gymnasium is completely silent. These men respect combat experience above everything. And I want to address something that's been bothering me for years. This recent trend of Eastern martial arts infiltrating our military training. Karate classes on base, judo demonstrations, kung fu movies making these flowery movements look effective. The Marines shift slightly. Some practice karate. Some respect it. James continues, more aggressive now. These Asian martial arts, they're fine for discipline, fine for exercise, fine for sport. But they're not combat. They're not designed for war. They're designed for tradition, for ceremony, for ancient warriors who had time to bow before fighting. In real combat, you don't have time for forms. You don't have time for kata. You don't have time for choreographed movements that look impressive but lack practical application. A few Marines in the audience disagree silently but say nothing. You don't outrank criticism in this setting. James is warming up now, his ego fully engaged. I've seen these kung fu guys, these karate masters, put them in a real situation and they freeze. Their techniques are too complicated, too many steps, too much thinking. Real combat is simple, brutal, direct. You hit first, you hit hard, you end it. He scans the room. So I'm making this clear to everyone here. If any of you are wasting time with these Eastern arts, stop. Learn what works. Learn military combatives. Learn techniques proven in actual warfare, not techniques proven in tournaments or demonstrations. Near the water fountain, a slender man in black workout pants and a white t-shirt shifts his weight. His companion, a Marine captain who invited him here, whispers quietly, "You don't have to stay for this." The slender man shakes his head slightly, keeps watching. His face shows no emotion. James continues his address. In fact, let me demonstrate my point. If there's anyone here who practices these traditional Asian martial arts, come up here. Let's show everyone what happens when ceremony meets combat, when form meets function, when tradition meets reality. Silence. Nobody moves. Most of the men here practice military combatives exclusively. James smiles. That's what I thought. Because deep down, everyone knows. When your life is on the line, you don't want kung fu, you don't want karate, you want proven combat technique, you want what works. I'll demonstrate. The voice comes from near the water fountain, quiet, calm, but it carries across the gymnasium. James stops, looks toward the voice. What was that? I said I'll demonstrate. The slender man in civilian clothes steps forward. He's wearing simple workout attire, black pants, white t-shirt. No uniform, no rank, no insignia, no indication of military affiliation. He looks like a civilian visitor, maybe someone's guest. James squints across the gymnasium. You practice these Asian martial arts? I teach Chinese martial arts, yes. What style? Wing Chun primarily, and my own system, Jeet Kune Do. James has never heard of Jeet Kune Do. Wing Chun, he knows vaguely. Some close-range Chinese system. Something about wooden dummies and chain punching. And you are? Bruce Lee. James doesn't recognize the name immediately. He doesn't watch television much. Doesn't follow Hollywood. Doesn't know about the Green Hornet. Doesn't know that Bruce Lee is already famous in martial arts circles. The 8 people in the gymnasium who recognize the name sit forward. This is about to get very interesting. One is Captain Thomas Chen, Bruce's friend, who invited him to observe today's training. He whispers urgently, "Bruce, you don't need to do this." Bruce whispers back. He challenged Asian martial arts. I'm responding. James addresses the base commander observing from the balcony. "Sir, requesting permission to conduct a practical demonstration with this civilian volunteer. The base commander, Colonel Roberts, considers for a moment. He recognizes Bruce Lee. He's seen the Green Hornet. He knows Bruce's reputation. This could be educational, permission granted, light contact only. This is a demonstration, not a fight. James nods, but his expression shows his real intention. He's going to embarrass this civilian, prove his point, show everyone that movie martial arts don't work against military combat training. Bruce Lee walks across the gymnasium floor. His movement is different, not military, not stiff, flowing, relaxed, aware. People step aside. Those who recognize him whisper to their neighbors. That's Bruce Lee, the guy from the Green Hornet, the kung fu instructor from LA. This is going to be interesting. Bruce reaches the mat, steps onto it. Now everyone can see him clearly. He's small, 5 feet 7 inches, maybe 145 pounds, wearing civilian workout clothes, no military bearing, no intimidating presence, no physical advantages. James towers over him, 8 inches taller, 90 pounds heavier, in military fatigues that show his rank, his service, his authority. The visual contrast is absurd. David and Goliath. Except in this scenario, David is unarmed, unarmored, and facing a trained military killer. The Marines murmur among themselves. This looks like a serious mismatch. James is trying not to laugh. This is going to be easier than he thought. He expected some older Chinese master, some credentialed instructor with military connections, not this small civilian who looks like he wandered in during a lunch break. You understand what you're volunteering for? James asks, offering an exit, trying to seem reasonable. I understand, Bruce says calmly. Colonel Roberts addresses the gymnasium from the balcony. Gentlemen, for those who don't know, this is Bruce Lee. He's a martial arts instructor from Los Angeles. He teaches Wing Chun and his own system, Jeet Kune Do. He's also an actor, plays Kato on the Green Hornet television series. Some Marines nod. They've seen the show. That explains the name. That explains the invitation. James is even less impressed now. An actor. This makes perfect sense. Movie fighting, choreographed, rehearsed, fake. Exactly what he was talking about. This is perfect. He'll demonstrate his point conclusively. Show everyone the difference between combat training and Hollywood. Colonel Roberts continues. This will be a controlled demonstration, light contact. We're comparing methodologies, not actually fighting. Everyone clear? Both men acknowledge. But James has already decided. He's going to press this actor, push him hard, make him look foolish, prove that Asian martial arts can't handle real aggression. They face each other center mat. James settles into his combat stance, weight low, hands up in a boxing guard, knees bent, ready to explode forward. His stance is practical, proven, combat-tested. Bruce stands naturally, no exaggerated stance. Feet shoulder-width apart, weight centered, hands raised but relaxed, mobile. It doesn't look like a fighting stance to the Marines watching. It looks casual, unprepared, vulnerable. James knows exactly what's going to happen. He's done this hundreds of times, against trained opponents, against black belts, against other military instructors. He'll close distance fast, use his size, use his strength, land a controlled strike. The kung fu guy will try to block, maybe attempt some complicated technique. James will counter, demonstrate superior combat effectiveness. Everyone will see that real fighting beats movie fighting. The colonel signals, begin. James moves first, explosive, fast for his size, steps forward with a straight right cross, aimed at Bruce's face. Full commitment, real speed, combat speed. Bruce is already not there. He's moved, not backward, offline, slightly. Just enough. James's fist cuts through empty air where Bruce's head was. James recovers immediately. Combat-trained recovery. Resets. Tries again. Left hook to the body. Hard. Meant to hurt even with control. Bruce isn't there. He's shifted. Minimal movement. Economical. James's hook extends into nothing. The Marines are confused. James is executing proper techniques, combat-proven techniques, but he's not landing anything. Bruce isn't even blocking, just moving. Not there when the strikes arrive. James increases intensity. Combination, right cross, left hook, right uppercut, knee strike, military combatives combination, designed to overwhelm, designed to end fights. Bruce flows around them, outside the cross, under the hook, away from the uppercut. The knee strike finds air, like water finding gaps, like he's seeing the attacks before they're fully committed. The military instructors in the audience recognize something disturbing. James is fast. His technique is sound. His combinations are proper. But Bruce is faster, much faster. And he's reading James, seeing the telegraphs, the weight shifts, the shoulder rotations, the hip movements. Every strike has preparation. Bruce sees it, processes it, responds. Before the technique is fully launched, before it reaches maximum speed, before it becomes dangerous. James is getting frustrated, breathing harder. He's landing nothing. This small civilian is making him look slow, making his combat-proven techniques look ineffective. He decides to abandon the light contact agreement. Forget demonstrations. He wants to touch this guy, prove the point, establish dominance. He launches a full-power front kick, military combat kick, aimed at Bruce's solar plexus, real intention, real force, enough to break ribs. Bruce's hand rises, meets the kick, not blocking it, intercepting it. His palm makes contact with James's shin, just before full extension, just at the perfect angle. James's kick is redirected, pushed offline, just inches. But enough. James's balance is compromised, his weight is wrong, his base is unstable, and in that fraction of a second, Bruce moves. He steps inside, close range, Wing Chun range. His right hand shoots forward, a straight vertical punch, aimed directly at James's throat, but stopped, pulled, halted 1 inch from contact. The fist hovers there, extended, perfectly placed, perfectly controlled. The message is absolutely clear. That could have landed, should have landed, would have landed, if Bruce wanted it to, if this was real, if the agreement was different. James steps back, breathing hard now, sweating, frustrated. This isn't going as planned. This small movie actor is making him look ordinary, making 14 years of combat training look ineffective, making his reputation look inflated. James's pride is wounded deeply. His ego is bleeding. He needs to land something, prove his superiority, restore his reputation in front of these Marines. He settles into his combat stance again, deeper, more committed, more aggressive. "Is that your best?" Bruce asks quietly. Only James can hear. "Or should we make this educational?" James's face hardens. His jaw clenches. He launches everything, every technique he knows, every combination he's perfected, every strike that's ended fights, right cross, left hook, right uppercut, elbow strike, knee strike, takedown attempt, ground strikes, 43 consecutive victories, 7 years undefeated, 14 years of combat experience, all of it unleashed. Bruce moves through it like smoke, slipping, evading, redirecting. His hands touch James's techniques, light contact, just enough pressure to change angles, to show he could stop them if necessary, to demonstrate complete control, to prove a philosophical point. The Marines are mesmerized. They came to watch combat training. They're witnessing something entirely different, a completely different understanding of fighting, different philosophy, different movement, different relationship with violence. After 45 seconds of James's relentless assault, Bruce decides to conclude the demonstration. James throws a haymaker right hand, full power, combat power, designed to knock opponents unconscious. Bruce doesn't evade. He steps inside the arc of the punch, where it has no leverage, no power, no effectiveness. His left hand controls James's right wrist. Light contact, just guidance. His right hand shoots to James's throat. stops 1 centimeter away, extended, perfectly placed, perfectly controlled. 2 inches forward, and James would be unable to breathe, unable to continue, unable to fight. The demonstration is over. Bruce holds the position for 5 seconds, long enough for every Marine to see, long enough for James to understand completely, long enough for the lesson to register permanently. Then Bruce releases, steps back, gives James space, gives him dignity. James stands there, breathing hard, sweating heavily, ego completely shattered. He just got dominated by someone 90 pounds lighter, someone without military training, someone he called a movie actor, someone whose martial art he publicly dismissed as ceremonial and ineffective. The silence in the gymnasium is absolute. 300 Marines just watched the impossible, watched Kung Fu make military combatives look inadequate, watched a small civilian control a combat instructor, watched movie techniques work against proven military systems. Everything they thought they knew about fighting has been challenged. Colonel Roberts takes the microphone from the balcony. "Gentlemen, that was an excellent demonstration of different fighting methodologies. Let's show both participants our appreciation." The gymnasium erupts. Not polite military applause, genuine shock, authentic amazement. They just witnessed something that contradicts their entire training philosophy, something that challenges their understanding of combat effectiveness. James bows stiffly. His pride is destroyed, but his integrity remains. He extends his hand to Bruce. "I underestimated you completely." Bruce shakes his hand firmly. "You have excellent technique, excellent conditioning, excellent aggression. But technique alone isn't sufficient. You need to understand principles, concepts, philosophy." "What do you mean?" "You're fighting the way you've been taught, following the system, following the methodology, following the doctrine. Real combat has no system, no methodology, no doctrine. You must be formless, shapeless, like water." James has heard this phrase, "be like water," Bruce Lee's philosophy. He never understood it. Now he does. Bruce continues, "Your techniques are perfect for military objectives, for combat situations, for the mission. But for pure fighting effectiveness, you need to transcend system, transcend style, respond to what is actually happening, not what you've trained for." The Marines are leaning forward, straining to hear. Colonel Roberts makes a decision. "Mr. Lee, would you be willing to share more, perhaps explain your methodology to these men?" Bruce looks at Captain Chen. Chen nods encouragingly. Bruce considers, nods. "All right, I'll explain what I demonstrated." For the next 20 minutes, Bruce Lee gives an impromptu lecture. He explains Wing Chun principles, economy of motion, centerline theory, simultaneous defense and attack. He demonstrates Chi Sao, sticking hands, sensitivity training, shows how it develops reflexes faster than repetitive drilling. He explains Jeet Kune Do, his personal philosophy, using no way as way, having no limitation as limitation, absorbing what is useful, rejecting what is useless, adding what is specifically your own. He demonstrates on volunteers, shows how classical stances limit mobility, how chambering techniques wastes precious time, how following rigid systems makes you predictable, how real fighting requires adaptation, response, flow. The Marines are experiencing cognitive dissonance. Everything Bruce is saying contradicts their training, their methodology, their military doctrine, their understanding of combat. But they cannot deny what they saw, what they're seeing. It works, undeniably, obviously, conclusively. James stands on the mat, watching, listening, learning. His arrogance is completely gone, replaced by humility, by curiosity, by genuine desire to understand. At the end of the demonstration, Bruce addresses the entire gymnasium. I don't say this to disrespect military combatives. Your training is excellent. Your techniques are proven. Your system works for your mission. But if you want to evolve as a fighter, as a martial artist, you must go beyond system, beyond style, beyond doctrine. You must discover what works specifically for you. Your body, your attributes, your situation. Don't practice techniques because that's what you've been taught. Practice techniques because they work for you. Against real opponents, in real situations. Test everything. Keep what works. Discard what doesn't. Be honest about effectiveness. The gymnasium is silent. Processing. Many are uncomfortable. Some are angry. Their training questioned. Their years of service challenged. But many others are intrigued, excited, awakened. They've just seen a different path, a different possibility. Colonel Roberts thanks Bruce publicly. The demonstration officially ends. Bruce returns to Captain Chen. Chen is grinning widely. That was incredible. I didn't intend to embarrass him, Bruce says quietly. But he challenged all Asian martial arts publicly. He needed to understand. Oh, he understands now. Completely. Trust me. The training session continues. The instructors proceed with their planned demonstrations. James completes his certification training. His technique is still excellent. His knowledge is still superior. But something fundamental has changed. His confidence is different, more humble, more aware, more honest. After the session ends, James approaches Bruce in the parking lot. "Mr. Lee, can I speak with you?" Bruce nods. They sit on the hood of Bruce's car. Late afternoon California sun. The base is quieting down. James speaks carefully. "I've been thinking about what you said, about being like water, about transcending system, and I want to learn. I want to understand what you showed today. Can you teach me?" Bruce studies him closely, sees sincerity, sees humility, sees genuine desire, sees potential. "I don't take many students. My time is extremely limited. I'm filming, teaching private clients, developing my system, writing. I understand completely, but I'm asking anyway. I'm willing to work, to learn, to start from the beginning if necessary." Bruce considers carefully. "You don't need to start from the beginning. Your foundation is excellent. Your conditioning is superior. You just need to expand it, to see beyond your system. Will you teach me? I'll give you an opportunity. Come to my school. Los Angeles, Chinatown. Saturday mornings, 6 a.m. We'll determine if you're serious." James shows up that Saturday, and the next Saturday, and the next. For 18 months he trains with Bruce Lee, learning Wing Chun, learning Jeet Kune Do, unlearning the limitations of rigid military doctrine. He continues his military service, continues teaching, but his approach transforms, his understanding deepens, his effectiveness increases. He teaches differently, more fluidly, more adaptively, more honestly. The 8 people in that gymnasium who knew who Bruce Lee was, they told everyone. Word spread throughout Camp Pendleton, throughout Marine Corps training facilities, throughout military combatives programs. Some dismissed it. Exaggeration, legend, impossible. But those who were there knew the truth. Many came to Bruce's school, wanting to learn, wanting to understand, wanting to evolve. The Camp Pendleton demonstration of November 17, 1967, became classified legend. Not officially recorded, not officially acknowledged, but remembered by everyone present. Not for the military training, not for the certification program, but for the 12 minutes when a civilian actor made a combat instructor look ordinary. When Kung Fu proved itself against military combatives. When Bruce Lee showed 300 Marines that fighting effectiveness transcends system, transcends doctrine, transcends everything except honest self-expression. James the Hammer Mitchell retired from active duty in 1972. He became a civilian martial arts instructor, teaching a synthesis of military combatives and Jeet Kune Do, honoring both his foundation and his evolution. He tells his students about November 17, 1967, the day his arrogance met reality, the day the instructor became a student, the day Bruce Lee taught him that being the best in your system isn't the same as being the best fighter, and the day he learned that the most dangerous opponent is always the one you underestimate based on appearance, on size, on background. 300 witnesses, 8 who knew, 1 who learned, and 1 who taught without needing to. November 17, 1967, Camp Pendleton Marine Corps Base, the day Kung Fu earned military respect, the day Bruce Lee walked onto a military mat and changed combat training philosophy forever, the day water proved stronger than stone,